The next annotation I want to show you, actually two annotations, are MaxLength and MinLength. I'll just use them on the username property, and I'll use them together, so that will also give you a chance to see an example of combining data annotations. So MaxLength is not part of the .NET 4 assembly that has the data annotations. It's inside of the new Entity Framework assembly for Entity Framework 4.1. So I'm going to go ahead and add a reference to Entity Framework 4.1. And now I'll be able to use MaxLength. And again, even though it's in a different assembly, it's still inside of the same namespace, the system component model data annotation. So I don't have to add a new namespace at the top of the class. So MaxLength, I'll say username MaxLength is 30. And then the way to combine data annotations is just to separate them by commas. So I can put them both inside of the brackets. And I'll just say MinLength is 5, just so that we can see this in action. So that's all I have to do. I'll run this again, and as I did before, we'll first take a look at the effect on the database, and then we'll see how the application responds to the annotations. So the application's running. That means the database was reinitialized, and we'll go ahead and take a look at the database again. Opening up the aliases, username now has a value inside of nvarchar instead of max. So there's the max length, which was 30 that I set. Now the database doesn't have a concept of minimum length, so we're only going to see that in context to the application itself. I'll go ahead and create another new alias, and this time I will put in the required alias name. I'll put it in a too short username, so it won't even meet the minimum of 5. And I'll go ahead and create. Now, I want to point out that I did go back into web config and I turned client-side validation on. This annotation doesn't get captured by MVC's client-side validation because it's part of Entity Framework, but it does get picked up in the model state validation. So if I step here, you can see that model state as valid was false, and I skipped right to return view alias. Now watch what happens with the error message. It says the field username must be a string or array type with a minimum length of 5. So this is a default error message that was built from the property name and the annotation that did not pass validation. So now let me make it greater than 30, and I should have made that a little shorter. Okay, I think I've got about 40 in here now. So I'll click Create again. And we can see something failed the validation. And now it says that the username must have a maximum of 30. So it knows that I failed that annotation as well. So that was MinLength and MaxLength. And you've also seen a little bit of the difference between annotations that are caught by client-side validation and annotations that aren't. Let's take a look at some other annotations now.